Hello and welcome to Damnable Delvings, where I delve into horror media. This is an introductory video to explain what this channel will be about. The purpose of this channel is to talk about and review horror media. Although I'm happy to talk about horror movies and horror TV series, and boy, do I ever like to talk about those things, I would like to focus on books. My favourite kind of horror novel is the kind of horror novel you would find in this book. Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix. Grady Hendrix is, by the way, no slouch in the authoring of horror novels himself. This book looks at the twisted history of horror novels in the 70s and 80s and presents a huge amount of the lurid artwork that you found on them and that made them so special. And that's the kind of book I'd like to concentrate on with this channel. However, having said that, I'm happy to cover more recent horror fiction and things that are horror adjacent. Recently, I signed up to the Damnable Book Club. This is a horror book subscription service which provides 1 or 2 new horror novels a month alongside a second-hand horror or mystery novel, alongside treats, sweets, drinks, bookmarks, book plates and other such things. I'm looking forward to maybe doing an unboxing video or 2 for those in the future, as well as maybe going out shopping and showing off some hauls of novels. However, I do have a few novels to be going on with. First of all, I have this, The School by Ed Kelleher and Harriet Vidal. Its tagline is, "Where evil is taught," and it has a gloriously lurid purple and green cover featuring an evil apple or something. I also have Cry for the Strangers. This is a 1979 novel by the author of Suffer the Children and Punish the Sinners. It's about a coastal haven harbouring deep secrets, and who doesn't love a coastal haven that harbours deep secrets? I know I do. I also have Somebody Come and Play by Claire McNally. This features the tagline, "Where evil lurks in every game and death in every toy." This, like all the best horror novels, has a child protagonist, so I'm looking forward to that one. This book was actually featured in Paperbacks from Hell, although with a different cover. I'm also interested in delving back a little bit further in time in horror fiction. To that end, I have this, The Devil Rides Out by Dennis Wheatley. This book was published in the 1930s, and this particular edition is from the early 1940s, which makes it quite interesting. Now, I'm extremely familiar with the film that Hammer made based on this book. In fact, it's one of my favourite movies, but I've never actually read this. I'm interested to see how it holds up. I'm also interested to see what it's like when viewed through a modern lens, so I'll talk about that a little bit. Talking about horror-adjacent media, I have a couple of movie tie-in novelisations that I would like to look at. As well as horror fiction, I'm a big fan of sword and sorcery fiction, both in terms of books and movies, particularly when they contain lashings of horrific elements, such as this, The Sword and the Sorcerer. This is the movie novelisation by Norman Winski. Now, I also love the film that this is based on, although I have to say it is an absolute cheese fest. It occurs to me, if you were going to make a sword and sorcery movie in the 80s, you couldn't really do any better than calling that movie The Sword and the Sorcerer. It really does do exactly what it says on the tin. I also have a movie tie-in novelisation from a later dark fantasy movie called Solomon Kane. The film was based on the works of Robert E. Howard, and it does have horrific elements, and it's a film I enjoyed very much when I first saw it, although it does have some issues, but still enjoyable. However, what makes this novel of particular interest is that it is written by the absolute horror legend that is Ramsey Campbell. So I'll be interested to see how much of his voice has found its way into this book. I'm also hoping in the future to present some book hauls to you of things I've found while shopping. And that, my friends, is an explanation of what I hope to do with this channel. I feel I've set a good basic grounding for what this channel will be about, although I am someone who is very much driven by my whims and fancies, and therefore things may well change in the future. And that's not really my fault. Except of course it obviously is. However, I will stick to horror though. I am an enormous horror fan and have been for a very, very, very long time. Probably since I first saw An American Werewolf on London on television when I was a child and had nightmares about it for days. Later on, I devoured an enormous amount of horror fiction of the type that you would find in Paperbacks from Hell, although it wasn't really vintage horror fiction in those days because I am old. My great aunt would lend me various horror novels that she was reading, including the works of Richard Lehman, which I now realise I was way too young to be reading and that she should have known that too, but never mind. Anyway, thank you for stopping by. Hopefully I'll see you in the future, and until then, stay creepy. Unless it's not appropriate for you to be creepy, in which case I would probably avoid it. But if it is appropriate, then stay creepy. It's a catchphrase. I'm trying to workshop a catchphrase for this channel. I'm doing my best here. Bye.